Welcome, 170.99. I got your message last night. Sorry I didn't see it until after the show. Welcome in Jody Brees, Rez, Lauren, Cassandra, Cug Kathy, Hollywad. Renee is here. Andy's here. Good morning. How are you, Andy? I just modded you. Welcome in. Stacy Smith's here. Kathy Bond's here. P. Tiffany. Thanks for joining. And Joan. How's everyone doing today? Crafty Sirens here. Yeah, it's the way that message system works now. If I get a message from someone that's never messaged me before, it puts it in that other little inbox. And you don't even see those until you go in your inbox, see that there's one in there in that inbox that's the little dot. And then you have to accept it. So I didn't even see it until I actually went into my messages. So if you're in a show and have a question or something, it's best to put it in the comments with a question mark so it shows up bold. And then, because otherwise the seller's usually not going to see it because we don't really check the other messages until we're out of the show. So most people. You love your package. Awesome. Always good to hear. Good to hear. Esther is here. Welcome in. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So if it didn't need if you didn't want to necessarily buy it in the show, that's fine. Yeah. All right. So happy Thanksgiving coming up. Good morning, Faye West. How are you today? What's going on with you? I just modded you as well if you want to stick around. And Andy's modding. Kristen's here. So, I wanted to talk about today about some strategies to kind of make it through this slump of not the greatest holiday season so far. But I will tell you that it is starting to pick up because it's just going to be kind of late and it's going to be a little bit frustrating because people have made the decision to kind of hold off on holiday spending until they kind of knew, what the government was doing, and that got finally fixed. But I still think, it's not, I don't know. My sentiment in my category, at least, is people are spending a lot less. So I had a show the other day where I had 31 orders, and of the 31 orders, only 8 people bought more than 4 items. And that's very unusual in our category. Most people want to get, because I always do reduce shipping. And most people want to get their shipping worth, if you know what I mean. And so it's very rare to have, yeah, Crafty had a huge box. But it's very rare to have that many people only buy, 1, 2, 3, 4 items. And I had a lot of people who just bought 1 item. So people are not buying as much right now as they used to. And I'm also noticing that new customers, a lot of times they'll have new customers that come on and they're super excited and buy a lot. And the new customers aren't even buying as much. So that's kind of a trend right now. And I know some of you don't sell in categories where people tend to buy a lot per show, but we definitely have that in fabric and crafts. Well, people tend to buy, they want to get their shipping's worth. And if you're offering really good deals, they're like, yeah, I might as well fill a box. So kind of an interesting trend. I don't know. We'll kind of see how it goes. But what I was going to say is, in order to kind of make up for that, you're probably going to have to do, if you need to, you're probably going to have to do a few more shows and maybe stay on some of the shows a little bit longer. Maybe experiment with that and see what works. I have seen some sellers that are doing multiple shows a day for a shorter time. So trying to capture the audiences that are there and all the different times of the day. And, so maybe doing a mid morning show and then also a late night show to kind of capture two different audiences. Hey, Cowgirl Ford, how are you this morning? Welcome in. She also hails from my awesome state. Good. So, there's things you can do, and also maintain that. Yes, don't tell anyone. You're embarrassed to be from our state? Well, you live in the best part of the state. So, as far as weather is concerned, yes, and it is a beautiful state for sure. I don't necessarily love the weather in the part of state I live in, but anyway, so yeah, maybe having a few more shows and doing a little bit shorter shows, or just staying on longer. So it just depends on, try a few different things, do some pop-ups. So we actually at the at the we just decided on Tuesday that we were going to have a show on Wednesday, and we normally take Wednesdays off. And so we did a show last night because people were starting to ask for something that we hadn't been able to sell as much of, which was Christmas fabric. I tried 3 or 4 times to have, well, I had one specific show that was all Christmas fabric at the end of October. Bupkis, nobody wanted it. It was just a disaster show. I ended up selling mostly other stuff. And then I've tried mixing Christmas in with mixed success. And finally, people were starting to ask for Christmas. I'm like, we better have a Christmas show because I have a ton of Christmas fabric. And so it was our best show so far this week. Last night, last minute show, threw it together, and, it was a good show. So, you just have to try different things to do, you know, just experiment. But I always, 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 this is super important. So listen to this carefully. Write down, I want you to really think about and write down, what is my goal for being on Whatnot right now? Whether it be financial, whether it be, I just want to come on and make a little bit of extra money to justify what I spend, whether it's I need a significant side gig, or I hate everything else about how I'm making my money right now and I want to do this full time. What is your goal? Write it down. Because if you don't write it down and commit to what it is you're trying to do, you're just going to flail. You're just going to flail because you aren't focused on what you're trying to achieve. So have a serious talk with yourself and write it down, and then start doing the things that you need to do to make that happen. Because when you have it written down and you're like, okay, and extrapolate it out. If you have a financial goal, then, and it's like a monthly goal, let's say, I need X amount of extra money per month, period. And then I need you to divide it up by the number of weeks, and then divide that by the number of days. And that's how many shows you need to have and how much you need to make per show. Good morning. I'm doing good. How are you? So, just for you by Mal said, I use this to clear out my inventory before I sold my shop. Yes, you can make money if you show up consistently. Yes. And consistently doesn't have to mean same time, every day or whatever. That's great if you can do that. But consistently means you're here on the app on a regular basis, showing up and going live, and please have at least 10 shows on your schedule at all times. At all times, at least 10. That is the way you get found. That is the way you get bookmarks. That is the way that you have shows that already have bookmarks that you can just move around as needed. If for when, because if your life is chaos, some people's lives just are. My life kind of right now is. Normally, I would be able to have a very regular schedule, but I have a granddaughter and she's number one right now. And I'm so blessed to get to babysit her, 2, 3, 4 times a week. And the schedule's not always exact. And so I have to kind of move my shows around to get to have her instead. So it causes a little bit of stress in my schedule, but I have so many shows I can just move around as needed to make it work. So that's more important, right? And so, yes, have shows on your schedule so that you have that flexibility. If you go out and look at all of the successful sellers, they have months booked out, you know. And yes, the grandbabies are so worth it. It's your reward for making it through as a parent because you get these adorable cherub babies that you get to be part of their life. And then when they're cranky and unhappy, they get to go back home with mom and dad. So, and sometimes you get them for a little bit longer period of time, but it's pure bliss. I love it. I'm having so much fun. So, you know, hopefully, I've graduated to grandma life and I love it. I couldn't wait. And now I've got it and I'm just thrilled. So, oh, you get your granddaughter 4 times a week. Yeah, that's awesome. So it's just a lot of fun. So, but it does create, it makes it harder for me to have a more set schedule, but I'm still consistent. I still have all those shows on my schedule. I still go live 4 times a week or more. And well, I go live here too. So I'm on here 7 times a week usually. But yeah. So Joan asks, what is the best place to read about setting up shows? I have a lot of fabric. Is there a way to set up without doing it individually? Um, is there a way to list fabric without doing it individual listings? Is that what you mean? If you had them previously listed on another platform, you can do the CVS download from a spreadsheet and create the listings that way. But if you didn't already have them listed, then no, there's no way to. Well, can actually do this. It's kind of a cheater CVS way. You can create a spreadsheet where you just sit there and, download the information onto the spreadsheet first and then download it like a CVS and it will create listings for you that way. So you go into Seller Hub and into inventory, and then in the upper right corner on the web version, there's a little plus sign. And if you click that, it will show you how to walk you through that. You can also look in frequently asked questions. Probably you would type in like downloading CVS file or something like that. and it will tell you how to do it. So, but I do know some people who create their listings that way. I find it kind of tedious. If you sell things that have UPC codes on them, you can scan UPC codes. So if you have bolts that have UPCs, you might be able to do it that way. AI is coming. They haven't released it to the full public yet, but you'll be able to soon scan the selvage on fabric and have it generate a listing for you. It's not perfect yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there. So yeah, it's going to be really awesome when they get. I'm beta testing, helping on the beta test, and they just keep improving it every day. It gets better when I try it, so it works pretty good. So yeah, if you have questions, put a question mark so I don't miss it. Let me just make sure I didn't miss some. Let's see. Going live and showing up for other sellers gains followers too. Yes. So just being on the app and being part of everything helps grow your business. Crafty Siren, I do vision boards. Would putting together kits be beneficial for customers? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think people would love that. So I think you would want to put them together in a way that it's easy to ship. So be thoughtful about the size, because I know sometimes a vision board, or something that you can fold up and then fold out. Because sometimes when you do a vision board, it's like, you've got a big old thing so that you can kind of clearly see it. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. Kits always are a good idea because you can show people live what you can do with it, what you can make, the vision of it, and then they can buy their own kit to do it their own way, right? So I think kits are always a good idea in the crafting, creative, artistic, fabric, quilting, all that in that world for sure. Let's see. Good morning, Cherry or Sherry, Cherie. It's probably Cherie. And Heart, welcome in. Networking and other shows is so important for exposure. Yes. And Faye and Andy, who are modding for me right now, are experts at doing this. And they have offered to moderate in lots of people's shows, and it gets you a lot of exposure. A lot of exposure. I noticed postage has increased. Does Whatnot help with the shipping cost? So yes and no. So it depends on which postage rates go up, but the Ground Advantage and the First Class pretty much mimic exactly what the retail rates are. So if those go up a little bit, then our rate on Whatnot will go up a little bit. What may or may not change is the flat rate deal that they've negotiated with the post office. That $9.21 is the rate we have for flat rate right now. That used to be, when they first got that deal, it was what was it? 8.24, I want to say, and then it went up one time, and then it sat at 9.21 for about a year and a half. So, it may or may not go up. I hope not. So I'll have to look at the rates, because if they did change priority flat rate at all, it may affect us. So I'll have to look. I'll have to ask. Maybe someday we'll have FedEx and UPS. Yes. They have experimented with that and beta tested it with some sellers. And I guess it was a flop. I don't know, because we don't have it. So not sure. Why does Whatnot credit the buyer or give the seller why do they not? Because the way the shipping works, they expect you to put in accurate weight and have it work. So if you don't know how to do shipping, because you should not ever have to have a difference the way shipping works on whatnot. That's the truth. So you need to accurately put in, and I know you have no control over what people buy, but if you do your shipping correctly, there shouldn't ever be a time where someone needs to be refunded because of how they do the smart bundling. I know that's a gray area, because you can't always control, what people buy, but that's just the business decision that they've made, as far as how, it's going to work on here. And it kind of pushes you to always just offer, a flat rate reduced shipping. Let's see. I disagree because as a business, I can figure the size and weight, and there is always an overcharge. Let's see. I can figure the size and weight, and there's always an overcharge. You'll have to clarify that because I don't know what you mean that there's always an overcharge. So if you've sold on other platforms, like if you've sold on the Bay, there's a way for you to, reimburse the customer if there was an overcharge on shipping. But again, even on that platform, if you calculated it correctly when you listed it, there shouldn't be, a difference. In my opinion, it's bad form to overcharge shipping and then you keep the extra. I think shipping should be what it is, which is shipping, So I know some people build in like a handling fee. Not overcharging because shipping is always based on dimensions. No, shipping is actually based on dimensions and weight, depending on which class you're mailing it in. If you're doing flat rate, then it's just a flat rate. If you're doing priority or ground advantage, it's the dimensions and the weight. So if you look at this chart, and it's also based on region. So if you look at this chart that I have in my show notes, this is the commercial pricing for the post office, and it is based on weight, but they have dimension requirements that you cannot exceed before it starts charging more. And that's why it's important if you have large, bulky items that you put in custom shipping profiles if it's going to be over that 12 by 12 by 12 size of the box. So, yeah. So yes, it's that within that 12 by 12 by 12, but that just means, and then on ground advantage, it's actually different. On ground advantage, it's 130 inches. So if you take your box and measure the height, the width, and the length, and it's more than 130 inches, that's outside of what ground advantage allows for regular rates, and there's an overcharge. That's why a lot of sellers get in trouble because they don't realize you can't send massive boxes. So anyway, you have to kind of go in and look all that up. So yeah. Yeah, and the 12 by 12 by 12 is just that size that you can't exceed for the packages that are under 5 pounds. And then over 5 pounds, if you're using Ground Advantage, it's 130 inches. So yeah, but I just pinned this if you want to glance at it, because it's also by zone. So if you have someone who lives, 20 miles from your house, their price for 1 to 4 ounces is $4.20. If you have someone that lives in zone 9 away from you, which is like over 1,000 miles away, their base rate is $4.85. So if you look at that chart, so that's for the Ground Advantage. These are the Ground Advantage rates that you're looking at here. But see how let's see how at 5 pounds, the base rate's going to be $8.53. And then you go over to zone 9, it's double the price. It's double the price. So it's based on zones as well for Ground Advantage. So anyway, it's kind of interesting to look at that. But you just have to get the shipping figured out. It's based on what you sell. It's based on what you sell, and you've got to enter weights correctly and make sure that let's see, I also had to sell for my bin, and I had it category sticker and whatnot, charge the customer. If it was in your marketplace, they don't allow first class envelope shipping out of the marketplace. So don't list those in the marketplace. Those $1 stickers out of your buy it now, make sure those aren't available on the marketplace. Put them only reserve it for live. So when you list it, turn on reserve for live so that people don't accidentally buy it out of your shop. Because it won't give them the envelope shipping rate. So that's why. Because the marketplace purchases, they don't automatically give them flat rate or first class postage rates. It's just Ground Advantage and priority. So make sure you have the items that are, for envelopes, don't list them on your marketplace. Put them reserved for live. Another comment I want to make about increasing your sales. I still go into a ton of shows where they have nothing in their buy it now. You are leaving a lot of money. I'm going to do something this year if I can figure the time out to do it. I want to go through my sales and figure out what percentage of my sales for the entire year were from items out of my buy it now. And I use a special numbering system that makes sense to nobody but me to put on my buy it now listing. So I'll be able to tell. And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if about 20% of my total sales for the whole year were from items out of my buy it now. So think about that. Would you like to increase your sales by 20% or more? You're leaving money on the table by not having items in your buy it now, in your shows. I'm not talking about the marketplace. That's the stuff you can have listed 24/7. Talking about when you go live, I'm talking about the buy it now items that are available for people to purchase, instead of auction items. So make sure you're utilizing that. And there's some really amazing features that you can use to run buy it now items, run as auction, run as flash sales, and feature it. It's there. It's something you didn't have to, if you have a pretty regular inventory of stuff that you just keep in your buy it now for every show, you clone them over. it's always there. And people mark those, and it's also another way for people to get notified you're going live. Because if you have some consistent items that you always keep in there, and they've looked at it and marked it before, it will notify them that you're going live, even if they didn't bookmark your show. So, yeah. It takes time to list, but add a couple of listings every day and you'll get your shop filled. Exactly. Exactly. And you can use listings over and over again, even if you sold it. You know, I hope you will discuss with Whatnot that many want to use their marketplace as their online store. And if you have to leave it for a live, okay, you'll have to clarify that because I'm not sure what you mean. Want to use their marketplace as their online store. And if you have to leave it for a live, because your marketplace listings are just like any other listing. You can go in and change it and add it to a show. It's a static listing. You can use it whenever you want. So it just depends on how you create the listing and what settings you put on it. So when you add a listing to your shop, if you only want it to be on the 24/7 shop, you just don't turn on reserve for live and it's there. And then if you want to pull it into a show, you just go find it in your inventory and pull it into a show, change it to a buy it now, reserve for live, change it to an auction item. You can even change it to a giveaway, but if you do that, it disappears. So yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that. You'll have to clarify. Let's see. Faye says, yes, listing into your shop is so easy on Whatnot. I always hated it on other places online because it's so detailed and time consuming. I agree. This is the easiest platform I've ever sold on, and I've sold on almost every single platform available. Let me think if there's one I haven't. Well, I mean, there's some newer ones I haven't because once I found Whatnot, I kind of stopped looking. But I've sold on almost every platform. And I would say, yes, this is the easiest one I've ever used. So even without, and I started selling on Whatnot 3 years ago before they made it even better. So they've only made it so much better. So, yeah. Yep, you just need some good photos. And with the UPC scanner and AI coming, it's going to be even better. So, yep. Very, very easy to list on here. So, and it always lives in your inventory. So, Seller Hub inventory, all your listings are there, whether they've sold, whether they're inactive, whether they're active, they're all there. The only ones that don't stay are giveaways. So, when you create a giveaway in a show, once that show's over, that listing disappears because giveaways are meant to be used and be done. They actually used to stay. And I liked it because you could just, pull them back into a new show. But they technically should disappear because they're supposed to be drawn and be gone. So, yeah. So, learn how to use your listings because make them work for you instead of being a lot of extra work. If you really learn how to use your listings, you'll find that it actually is a lot easier than you thought. And it's just all in what you select in the settings for that listing when you create it. And then it's all about once you've created it, using it over and over and over again. We get sales every week from the bin when we are not on. Last night we sold 10 items. Yeah. So you can do that too. it just all depends on what you sell. Some categories are going to probably get better sells out of the marketplace. And by marketplace, I mean items that are listed in your profile shop that you don't have to be live for people to buy. You need to know the difference between how to set it up for that setting versus an item that can only be purchased in an auction versus an item that can only be purchased reserved for live in a bin purchase during a live show. Good morning, Erin. How are you? Can I get a mod run flash sale? Can I give them permission? Ooh, I like that idea. No, right now they don't have that authority, but I love that idea. Erin, that would be amazing, right? To have your mods be able to go in and start flash sales. I'm going to ask for that. Let me take a screenshot. See, that's what we all need is people who think of great ideas that we didn't think of so that we can remember. So I'm taking a shot of that. So I'll remember to ask. Faye says, I sell from my shop when I'm live making things. Yes, and you should be. Because technically, terms of service, if you're doing a show where you're demonstrating, you always have to have something for sale. So you should always have kits or other items you've already made or, just other stuff available in your buy it now for people to buy during your show. So I'm live right now. I'm doing a seller chat, right? But I always have stuff in my buy it now that you guys can buy. And, sometimes people do. I'm not pushy about people buying when I'm live selling, doing a seller chat, as it doesn't bother me because I'm walking on my treadmill. I've decided to spend this time with you guys. I'm not trying to sell. But terms of service, you always have to have something for sale. So, yeah. Let's see. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any questions. I think I got all those. All right, yeah. So if you have a specific question or comment that you want to make sure I don't miss, put it in the chat with a question mark. I think you can do it with a team member with admin access, but I'm not sure I'm comfortable with a stranger on the internet having. Yeah, I agree. So yes, like my husband is able to do that, but it's because he's logged in when he's on my account. He can do it. And yes, and I agree. If you have a team member, I'll have to ask how that works. But if you have a team member that's also an admin in your account, they would also be able to run the flash sales because there's big sellers who have, multiple team members that can do stuff. So, yeah. But that, typically they would be logged in under the main account. And then you would just have to add. So I'll ask how that works. I'm small enough that I don't have, it's just me and my husband. But, some of these bigger sellers that have, 20 people working for them, definitely, I think they must have it set up that way. I agree. And yeah, you wouldn't necessarily want strangers being able to do it. But if you have trusted moderators that you've used for many years, then you would trust for them to be able to, because I have flash sales that I'll start and then they expire. And it would be great if I could tell my mods, can you go restart these flash sales? Do you have a bucket pattern demo show coming? I want to watch it and make it while you show it. I haven't scheduled one. My serger is on the fritz right now. And I'm toying with, do I try and go get it repaired or do I just buy a new one? I haven't made a decision. And I don't like to make them without my serger because it's so much faster. Making them with just the sewing machine is kind of a POA. So I'm like, I'm waiting to decide if um, I want to do that. So I haven't done one in a while, but there is one on my lives in YouTube. So you can go watch that on YouTube. Yes, you can definitely make it without a serger. I just am I'm if I can't do something fast, I tend not to do it at all. And so I have a serger because I like to be able to make things really fast. And I'm not a perfectionist sewer. I'm a fast and furious sewer. I'm not patient with sewing. Don't ever, I would probably never be a mixed media artist where you sit there and slowly stitch. I would probably be like in the mental hospital if I were forced to do that because I just have no patience. And I tried to learn how to knit and crochet and embroider, and I'm just like, nope, not happening. So it's because I can't do it fast and make it look nice. So I just don't want to do it at all. So yeah. Yeah, put a sewing machine on the top of my treadmill. Yeah, exactly. Be like up here going me me. And then if I walk faster, it goes faster, right? Yeah, that's the idea. That could be a disaster. So anyway, that's kind of how I view it. Um, is there room for improvement in shipping on whatnot? Yes, 100%. And I think they're very well aware that people get frustrated trying to figure out the shipping. But honestly, once you have it figured out for what you sell, it works pretty seamlessly. The frustration is when you suddenly want to sell something else that you haven't sold before, trying to figure out how it's going to work. You about pull your hair out going, oh, wait, trying to figure it out. So, how are you, Field Trip Quilting? Welcome in. Lisa says, I crochet and have a ton of unfinished projects because it just isn't fast. Ah, see? Yeah, so you're kind of in that genre with me where it's like, oh, if I can't get this done fast enough, I kind of don't want to do it. I don't know. I'm just probably very ADHD. I just want things, and I get distracted easily. So if I can't get it done in 5 minutes, my brain's somewhere else 10 minutes later. And yeah, so I honestly don't have a lot of unfinished projects because of that. If I know it's something I'm not going to um, be able to complete quickly, I just don't even bother to start it in the first place. So I have, I think I'm kind of wanting to do some quilting. And I think the way I would have to wrap my mind around it is I would have to do projects where I do one block at a time. And then when I have the blocks, so my focus is just that one block. And then when I have all the blocks done, then the project is finishing putting them together, you know. But I don't think I could really honestly focus on completing some intricate quilt where you don't get any satisfaction till it's all put together. I think I would go nuts. So, yeah. Lisa says, I've been thinking about taking up sewing again, but it's been too many years and I can't remember anything. It's kind of like riding a bike. Honestly, it does come back to you because you have certain muscle memory and certain, like, oh, yeah, that'll come back to you. So, try it out and see because I think you'll be surprised how quickly you can, make it come back. Field Trip's been working on a Christmas quilt for the last 3 years. Yeah, exactly. I just don't know if I can make it happen. So, but if you guys want, this is something exciting. So I'm going to put this in chat. So C White and AZ, I'm going to tag her so she knows I'm sharing this. Started a Facebook group called Let's Make, and I'm going to hope let's make 100. Now I'm going to butcher it. Let's make 100 quilt squares. I think this is what it is, together. Thank you, Faye. Have a great week. And or the rest of your week. It's Thursday, you guys. Tomorrow's Friday. Woohoo! All right, so let's make 100 quilt squares together. I think that's the name of it. And if you want to do that, it's based on a book that you can get from Amazon for about $15. And you make 2 squares a week. And then by the end of the year, you have your 52 or whatever it is, 100. Yeah, by the end of the year, you have your 100 quilt squares to make your quilt. And it's a scrappy quilt. So you use the stuff you already have. You don't go out and buy new fabric. So if anyone's interested in joining that, I think it'll be a lot of fun. And it's going to be a Facebook group where there's no selling, no advertising. You're just focusing on that quilt and sharing that quilt and sharing the other stuff you make, but no selling. So it'll be a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that, Christine will have it in her, she'll have it listed in her show notes, and she'll talk about it in her shows. And I'm pretty sure that's the right name. I already went and joined. So yeah. Joan is live at 2 with Vintage Fabrics. Awesome. So everybody give Joan a bookmark. Let me see if I can do it without kicking myself out of here. So Joan, show today, 2 p.m. my time, Vintage Fabric. And then she's got a raid train on the 29th. I'll bookmark that too. Thanks for sharing, Joan. So yes, again. So Joan, I was just in your profile. Get more shows scheduled. You could always move them around. Every seller should have a minimum of 10 shows on your schedule at all times so that people can bookmark them. Okay. Crafters Outpost. We are having a faith-based competition junk journal show today starting at noon. Oh, that's cool. Let me go look. So Crafters Outpost. So 10:56 a.m. my time. So you must be on the east. Kickstart Faith Warrior Raid Train. And it looks like you're on there 3 times today. So you're taking 3 slots. Or are you the tail? Warriors on the Battlefield. It says faith-based junk journal competition. Your host, Crafters Outpost, and I love a giving tree. I love you too, but a giving tree's got a special place in my heart. She's one of the sweetest persons on the planet, right? That's very cool. So I'll try and drop in and see some of them because that's exciting that you guys are doing that. I love it. Let's see. Sharon says, oh, she's headed to work at your church soup dinner. Well, that's a good thing too. So that's very faith-based. You'll be there in heart for sure. All right. Love it that you guys are doing that. Very cool. So everybody bookmark those shows on Crafters Outpost and maybe go search that and bookmark the rest of them too. Love that idea. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss any questions or comments. Let's see. Yeah, I think I've got them all. All right, if you have anything you want to talk about specifically, let me know. I'm just kind of yakking about whatever was on my mind. And you're welcome. So I was just kind of talking about some of the things I'm doing to try and, keep up with the fact that sales are kind of slow this year. Maybe do more frequent shows for shorter times to try different time slots. Maybe do longer shows if you can, and pop up when you see opportunities. Because there's always, if you pay attention, there's always opportunities when fewer sellers are on, or opportunities when it looks like there's a lot of buyers on. Just do things to kind of do that. So let's see. Sharon says, there be more? I was thinking of doing some kind of devotions with my show, but I haven't put my mind to it yet. Oh, you're asking Crafters Outpost. Yeah, so she'll have to answer that. Welcome in, Selena. How are you today? So this is my seller chat. I'm on the treadmill walking and chatting, and I just share whatever's going on in people's lives, minds, whatever I have going on. A pop-up show is just, instead of having something that's been sitting on your schedule for a week, you decide, oh, look, there's an opportunity here. You create a show, or you use one of those 10 shows you should have on your schedule, and you just go and edit the show, change the date and time to, the time you want to pop up and do a show. And then bam, you have a show kind of just randomly that you just, either created or changed over to that date. So that's what we did yesterday. So I don't normally do shows on Wednesday. And we just decided, because of slower sales and requests for Christmas fabric, to do a pop-up Christmas show last night. And I just took one of my shows that was already in my schedule, that already had a decent amount of bookmarks, and changed the date and time and put it there, instead of having it, where it was. And then I just created a new one for that slot. So take one that's further out on your schedule. That's why it's so important to have lots of shows scheduled, because you can use them when you need them. And they've already got bookmarks on them. Does that make sense? Sharon's exclusives. Yes, we're definitely your kind of peep. Thanks for stopping in. You have a great day too. Thank you so much. And let me make sure I'm following you. I now am following you. And she's a mom and a grandma, like me. She loves to sew, like me. She crafts, crochets. I don't crochet. I have no patience for it. And she has shows scheduled, this and that, quilting and sewing, and she's got it on the 24th. Let's get it bookmarked. Vintage patterns on the 24th. Quilt blocks. Ooh, I love vintage quilt blocks on the 24th. Vintage patterns on the 1st. Patterns, this and that. She's doing the right thing, you guys. Look, I'm still scrolling on Sharon's, and she's got all these shows scheduled. Okay. That's the right way to get started. That's the right way to get started. Have a lot of shows scheduled. And she's new. She's only sold 197 items. And I'm not saying that to say that you are not selling a lot. I'm just saying you're a newer seller, right? So, yeah, very cool. So everyone get her shows bookmarked, and welcome to Whatnot. Harnick, let's see. Harnick Creations and Beads, welcome in. Thanks for joining. Yes, you were wondering how it went last night. I had fun listening. Yeah, it was a good show, and it was just one that we were like, okay, people are asking for Christmas. Let's pop up and do Christmas. And it was a lot, I stayed on a little longer than I would love to stay on, but people were buying. It was active, it was fun. And I got rid of a decent amount of Christmas. I still looked at it when we finished and went, I think I'm going to have Christmas fabric until, my kids are dead, but yeah. I think, well, so one of the hauls that I picked up, the lady loved Christmas. So we have a decent amount of everything else too, but she absolutely loved Christmas. And she had gotten up in age to where she was buying multiples of a lot of different things because she would see something she loved and forgot she had already loved and bought it. And so, yeah, we have a little bit too much of some of the Christmas fabrics. And I've sold a lot, but I still have a lot more. Let's see. Sharon says, I lost my whole inventory this past week when my live stream crashed and froze. I'll get it back. Thanks so much. Gotta go. I'll follow you. Yeah. So your inventory is not lost. It's still out there. You just gotta go get it and put it back into your shows. So clone it over from the show that crashed. Just go and open it in past shows, clone, and you'll have it all there. So if you don't know how to do that, look up cloning and it'll teach you how to do it. Welcome in everybody who's joining. Thanks for joining. Read the show notes. My show notes have a lot of good information, and there's all those starred bullets of the places you can go officially on Whatnot to get help. So, Whatnot seller account here on the app. They do shows. Let's go look. I haven't looked in a while for that to see what shows. And I missed the one where they interviewed Michelle's deals. I feel bad about that, but I was busy. All right, so here we go. Whatnot sellers. Let's see when the next show is on that account. So they've got one scheduled for the 3rd for new product updates, and then they're going to be interviewing Tacos and Roses on the 10th of December. And then they've got one scheduled on the 17th for goal setting and one on the 7th for new product updates. So make sure you have those shows scheduled on the Whatnot seller account. That's the first start bullet in my show notes. And then the second start bullet is the YouTube for the official YouTube account for Whatnot, which is Whatnot app. So you go into YouTube, you search under Whatnot app, and the awesome thing is they're downloading the videos from those Whatnot seller shows so that if you missed it, you can go rewatch it. So I'm going to go rewatch. That reminds me, I need to go rewatch. They had a good one about lighting and gear yesterday. Yes. So they're doing a lot of shows that are focused on new sellers and just the really basics of how to set things up, how to start a show, and so yesterday they had one about lighting and gear. Okay. And it usually takes them about a week to get it downloaded to YouTube, but it will be on YouTube when they get it downloaded. So yeah, you can go join that, subscribe to that YouTube account on YouTube and be able to watch their past shows. And then the third start bullet is Seller Academy. If you haven't gone to Seller Academy and gone through all their tutorials and you're newer, make sure you do that. It teaches you all the basics, just all the very basics. And then the fourth start bullet is help.whatnot.com. You should have that on speed dial. It's just in your account. So you click your account at the bottom of the screen, your little logo, and then click it again. And then you're scrolling down to frequently asked questions. That's the same thing as help.whatnot.com. And you type in any topic and it will bring up all the articles that have to do with that topic. And sometimes you don't always know the right words, but usually you'll be able to find it just typing in a few different things if you're not sure exactly what something's called. And then the last star bullet is the blog. So Whatnot has a blog, and the blog is awesome because they post articles that have a lot of statistics and information about the company itself. I think you as a seller should pay attention to those blog articles because it kind of gives you the vibe, the direction the company's taking, the things they're doing that the outside business world would look at. And it's important that you understand, the ideas, the directions, the things they're trying to do. So, and one of their recent announcements is that they received investor funding for $255 million, and that a good portion of that money is going to be used towards building out trust and safety better because of the exponential growth. Keeping a handle on trust and safety is important so that we all have a safe environment, and they're able to identify and remove scammers and people with ill intent more quickly. With the way it's grown, that's become more of a problem because when you start becoming known, you attract the good and the bad, and we need to weed out the bad fast. And so they'll be improving that process because I know that's a little bit frustrating sometimes when you see sellers doing scammy things and you report them and they don't get them off there fast enough for all of us. And so they'll be improving that process. Things like that take time, and you do want to do your due diligence and make sure you're, not hurting someone who had no ill intent. So you've got to investigate it, but that takes people power and time. And so that will improve. So that's exciting. And then they'll use, parts of that money also towards expanding in other categories, in other countries, and other stuff like that. So exciting things to come. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for joining. Read the show notes. If you have questions, ask them with a question mark so they show up in bold. And that way I can try not to miss them. How's everyone doing today? Happy Thursday. A week away from Thanksgiving. What's everyone planning on doing for Thanksgiving? What are your plans? We're actually going to have our Thanksgiving meal on Wednesday because my son and my daughter-in-law, one of them works Wednesday night, one of them works all day Thursday. My son's a nurse, and he drew the I gotta work the holiday. What is the DRASB? That's the rewards program. So you can earn the first level just by watching a certain number of shows. And so Gathering Old Memories just unlocked the first rewards level. So if she comes and shops in one of my shows, she already has earned a coupon. So I participate in the rewards program. That's the little DRASB that you see up on your screen right there. See the little B? So if you click that, it tells you what the rewards are, how you can earn them. And the very first level, all you have to do is watch 3 shows. So that means Joan has been in at least 3 of my shows for at least 10 minutes or longer. Or that means Gathering Old, sorry, not Joan. And I saw someone else earn their DRASB a little bit ago too. So, and if you want to participate in the rewards program, I love it. It's automated. It gives your customers, your frequent watchers, your frequent buyers, automatic rewards. So it gives them coupons. and that they can use. And you redeem them by just clicking that little Drasby. And if you've earned one, you can just put it in as redeem, and your puts it in your wallet for the next to go towards your next purchase. So yeah. If you don't know how the rewards program works, go read it. It's a new season every 3 months. The next season starts on December 2nd. And every season, people have the opportunity to earn all the way up to the highest level of rewards. And as they buy more in your shows, they get higher amounts of coupons and more frequent coupons to use in your shows. And it just automatically incentivizes people to buy. I love it because it's automated. So it's a good program. Welcome in, Deanna and Be Free Treasures and Tamara Bear a Market. Congrats for being here. Tell me what you've got going on. What questions do you have? What can I help you with? I probably need to get going here in about 10 minutes. So yeah, if anyone has anything they're needing, let me make sure I point out in my auction tab. So if you click the shop button on your screen and then make sure you navigate to the auction tab versus the buy it now or giveaway tab, there are 17 items in my auction that are just informational things that you can click on and screenshot the information. So there's all kinds of information in there about how to use whatnot. And the ones that are logoed or marketed as, whatnot colors like those two, those are official whatnot publications that they share with everybody and the community team sellers. I'm part of the whatnot community support team. We share those and we do different topics every month. The latest one is that one on top, the 2025 holiday seller guide. And if you click the first picture, click it again, bring it up big. And then you just can swipe through the pages and screenshot them. There's a lot of good information in there and some dates. So that's the latest one that they published. And then there's just all these other ones. And then some of the stuff in here are things that I put together or some other sellers put together. So just lots of good information in there for different things. So make sure you go through my auction tab and screenshot any of those that you might find helpful. Probably the most helpful ones that I've put together are this one. Choosing basic shipping settings helps you kind of think through the process of how to do your shipping based on what you sell. And then if you'll go watch on my YouTube channel, the show that is called Don't Sink Your Shipping, has a little ship emoji on the title in conjunction with this little guide. It will help you figure out shipping. The shipping is based on what you sell. Hey, in a Violet World, how are you? It's been a while. How's it going? So yeah, that's helpful. My top 10 tips. This I created a long time ago. I think it's a really good list of, checklist of, am I doing this? Am I doing this? Am I doing this? You need to be doing all 10 of the things on that list if you want consistent upward trajectory of growth on the platform. So yeah. And then this is probably my favorite one I've created. I think this is where it's at as far as how can you get people in your shows and keep them there. The 5 F's. So make sure you screenshot this one. It's just this one page. And it really makes you think about, what am I doing to make sure people want to come to my shows and stay there and be there often. So make sure you have that screenshotted. And let's see what else is in here. The envelope shipping guide. I need to redo that one. It's kind of yawn, but it's the basics of if you want to use first class mail to send low cost, flat things for giveaways. Here's how to do it. So the envelope shipping guide, I just pinned that. How to set up the plain white envelope. Okay. All right. Everybody's kind of quiet today. No major questions. Everybody's doing great. Nothing too hard on your minds that you need to fix or get help with. Let me know if there is something that you need help with. And yes, please bookmark my upcoming shows. If you find these shows helpful, I do them every Tuesday and Thursday morning. With a few exceptions, I don't think I'm going to get up and do it on Thanksgiving morning. But yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then at least once a month, I do a community support show where I'm live in front of the camera. So, did you miss any Daisy Kingdom? No, actually, I didn't find any in that batch, but there were some cute ones that were similar. Some vintage panels that were not Daisy Kingdom, but they were other brands from that same genre era that were cute. I have some still there were some tree skirts panels that were really cute. Let's see. My sound isn't working, but I wanted to pop in and send loads of luck to everyone. May your boxes and wallets be full and boxes be light to carry. Aw, thank you. Thank you. Deal with. That's very sweet. So let me give you a follow and there we go. All right. How is everyone doing? You think you saw the ones I had last night? Yeah. I still am making my way through the last of that stuff, so there might be some more Daisy Kingdom. I'll try and tag you if I do find some for sure. That's why I tagged you last night before I started showing them, because I thought maybe they might be. But yeah, they weren't Daisy Kingdom, but they were similar. So I do try to remember to tag you when I find that stuff, because it's so cute. Yeah, you bet. You bet. All right. Well, I think we're going to go find someone to raid. Doesn't look like anyone has any burning questions. Let me go and see who else is live that we can raid into. Let me see if there's another community show. And if not, we'll raid into a craft show. Let's see. Oh, bummer. Stay Home to Shop will be on at 10, but I'm not going to stay on that long. So let's go raid the Red Rooster. She's part of the community support team. She's in Canada. She's always fun to listen to. She's adorable. She always has awesome glasses and always good tips. So let's go raid the Red Rooster because I haven't raided her in a while. And you guys have an amazing day. Make it a great day. And heading over to the Red Rooster. Here we go. Bye for now. See you soon. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you, Andy and Faye West. Here we go.